An introduction to spaces in School AI. I'm going to begin from the launchpad of School AI, and you'll notice on the launchpad that you've got find a space as well as create a space. There are also some highlighted spaces in here. Typically, they change these up based upon a season or a holiday, um, or just wanting to highlight a particular type of space. So you'll notice that in this instance, there are some November spaces, some Thanksgiving related spaces, and some writing skill spaces as well. Now go up here to the top and click on spaces. It's a drop-down menu. You'll find discover, which corresponds with find a space, and then create, which corresponds with create a space over here on the launchpad as well. And all sessions that you may have created or edited, you'll find listed under sessions. Also on the launchpad at the bottom, you'll find any recent spaces that you have created or used that somebody else has made. And then you can see all your sessions as well, which corresponds to the sessions under spaces. So that said, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go ahead and click on spaces and click on discover. You'll see that there are over 86,000 spaces created by educators. These are available for you to remix and use as you please, or you can start from scratch. You can also search by a particular topic. You'll notice that I've got a couple of previous spaces in here, and you can search by any topic you'd like. So before I do that, I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. At the top, they will highlight any spaces that you have created or edited, borrowed from another teacher, so to speak. They'll be listed here for you as well. And then spaces that are popular right now for whatever reason. There's still the Halloween Party Escape Room, Haunted Math Mansion, Back to School Icebreakers, The Cave of Multiplication, and then you'll find a little arrow here where you can continue looking through some of the more popular ones. Book Recommender, Math Adventure, Addition and Multiplication, A Life Cycle of a Pumpkin, and so forth. And you'll also see little stars here. The stars allow you to favorite them so that you can find them quickly. If you want to go back to them to see whatever ones you favorited, you can do that and then go back and find those. Below that are common activities for your classes. You'll notice Sidekick. Sidekick is a form of a space. It's just a little simpler than all of the features that are available for you within a space. You've also got bell ringers and exit tickets, Video Explorer, Topic Explorer, historic figure chatbots. And these are ones that you can create from scratch, but they have some helper guides in there to help you build that particular type of space. Career exploration, tutoring sessions, choose your own adventure, and books explorers as well. Below that, you'll find November spaces being highlighted. And again, you can scroll through those to see. Thanksgiving related spaces, writing skill spaces, comprehension skills, the historic figure chatbots, which allow you to talk virtually to a historic figure, and then some featured creators. You'll notice that this individual has created 7 spaces. This one has created 47 spaces. So they're popular for whatever reason. You can click on these to see all of the spaces that they have created. Perhaps you used a space and you really liked it. You can click on the author of the space and then see as well all of the spaces that particular individual has created. And again, scrolling up to the top, you can do a search. So if I wanted to do a search for, let's say, a particular topic, say volcanoes, I can put in volcano. I don't even have to hit enter. It's going to start populating it with all the volcano related spaces. These will be all of them. And then you can narrow it down to just the ones made by teachers. And if you made one yourself, you could also find that particular one that you've made. So there is a 6th grade space on volcanoes, adventure quizzes, before and after earthquake and volcano, natural disasters, the impact of volcanoes and earthquake analysis. All of these are available for you to reuse. So this particular one here was made by this author. If I click on it, I will be able to make a copy of it, and it'll be my own. I can make adjustments to it. It doesn't affect that author's one. It's just been reviewed by School AI and made available for you to use with your students as well. So if I wanted to use, say, this particular one, Uncover the Secrets of Volcanoes, all I have to do is click on it, and that's going to open up and show me information about it. The title, there is a AI generated image that they generated from School AI. And then there is a teacher's description of this particular one. And so it says, as they craft wiki entries for assigned volcanoes, they'll engage with an AI expert to learn about locations, types, eruption dates, and other unique facts. This dynamic learning experience encourages curiosity and research skills, making geology both accessible and enjoyable. Created by Justin Craig. If I click on that, it's going to show me all of the spaces that Justin happened to have made. And then below that are more options. And then here I can narrow further based on the work that Justin has already done for me. I could say this is for a particular grade level. I can put it in there that I want it to be for differentiated learners. Session instructions, I can add additional instructions like keep my students on task, bring them back to the topic, ask them a lot of questions, query them about these particular topics. I can do all of that if I want. Now, also below this, I've got Remix. Now, I could use this just the way that Justin created it. I could put in those additional options and then hit launch and use it with my students. But if I'd like to see the underlying prompt that Justin used to create this, because maybe I want to tailor it a little bit deeper, all I have to do is go over here and click on Remix. And what that will do is show me this space again, but it allows me to adjust the title and also adjust the original prompt that Justin used. So if I wanted to go in here and put learn about volcanoes, I could do that instead of volcano research. The AI prompt says you will act as an expert on volcanoes around the world. A fourth grade student will ask you questions. Well, maybe you're a fifth grade teacher. You can go in here and go. A fifth grade student will ask you questions about the location, the type of volcano, the date of the last eruption, and other interesting facts in order to create a wiki entry on the assigned volcano. Well, maybe you don't want them to create a wiki entry, so you can adjust all this up. So a fifth grade student will ask you questions about the location types. I'm going to put in here type of volcano, date of last eruption. And so instead of putting this, I'm going to ask you questions about volcanoes in general. Let's see. You will answer their questions, keeping in mind that they are fifth graders and adjusting your information accordingly. Be conversative. And so it doesn't like conversative. So I'm going to say be conversational and ask them questions about volcanoes as well. Make sure all students stay on topic and only ask questions in reference to the volcano. So I'm going to say in reference to volcanoes and steer them back if they ask unrelated questions. So as you can see, I can deeply change this particular space from what it originally was. Now below that, I've also got upload a file. If I have PDFs on volcanoes, I can click on upload a file and I can upload a document by browsing here from my device, or I can also go into Google Drive if I've stored Google Docs or PDFs in Drive on volcanoes with lots of information. I can incorporate those in to the knowledge base that these Spaces AI will use to talk with my fifth graders. I can also go in here and adjust the teacher description that you saw when choosing the space. So this one says for fourth, I'm going to say for fifth. They're not going to be crafting wiki entries, so I'm going to say they'll engage with an AI expert to learn about locations, types, eruption dates, and other unique facts about volcanoes. This dynamic learning experience encourages curiosity and research skills while making geology both accessible and enjoyable. So I won't change any of the other portions on here. And there's also a student description. So if the student actually goes into the space when I launch it, this is what they will see for the description. So join the space as a young geologist to explore and learn about the amazing world of volcanoes. Ask an AI expert all about the volcano. I'm just going to go ahead and change this up. And be prepared to answer questions provided to you. So from here, I could launch it, but you know what? There is this AI generated image. What I'm going to do is rather than use the one that was provided by Justin through SchoolAI, I'm going to go ahead and tell it to generate a new one. If I have a image that I downloaded or took personally, as long as I can get it to my computer, I could upload it myself as well and use that image rather than the one provided. But here you go. I've got another image. If I don't like this one, I can generate again and generate again. If I don't know what to put into these, I can actually have the AI generate fields of information and then edit them myself if I want to save a little bit of time. Now, from here, I can start a preview to see what the chat would look like for my students. So I'm going to start that preview just to look. And it says, hey there, are you ready to dive into the exciting world of volcanoes? Whether it's a fiery lava, the towering eruptions, or the mysterious way they form, volcanoes are pretty awesome to learn about. Do you have any questions to start, or should we explore some cool volcano facts together? I'm going to say, how are volcanoes formed? And hit enter. Now, another thing too, while I'm waiting for the answer, is I could hit speak and the computer will say out loud what that question was. Now, I typed in how are volcanoes formed, but down here, rather than typing it in, if I have a microphone on my computer, I could speak my question as well. So here's my answer. Great question. Volcanoes are formed when hot, melted rock called magma pushes its way to the surface. Talks about tectonic plates, magma rising, formation, and eruptions. And then I told it to be conversative and ask questions. And so it follows it with, have you ever heard of a volcano erupting? Or do you know the name of a famous volcano? So I'm going to say, how about Krakatoa? And so if you've already provided learning on this topic, rung it up, you've already done a little bit of training on this particular thing, you can, of course, in the AI prompt it to ask questions about what you've taught your students about so far and to essentially quiz them through this. And so it's going to continue talking about Krakatoa. And then it's going to go, have you ever imagined what it'd be like to see a volcano erupt? What do you think makes volcanoes like Krakatoa so fascinating? And again, I can have it speak it to me, and I can use the microphone to respond with my response. So I can't imagine what it would be like. Probably really scary, right? And then it's going to think about this, and then it's going to pull from both the information and ChatGPT, as well as anything you may have attached as an upload when you went and edited that prompt. You're right, it can be really scary, also amazing to witness. Here's what it might be like, et cetera, et cetera. And again, follow-up questions to bring the student in and continue that conversation and the learning. Okay, so I'm happy with this. So if I'm ready, I can go over here to save and launch it later if I like from under Spaces, these sessions, or I can say I'm ready to launch this to my students, save and launch. It's going to dispense with the preview, keep all the stuff I edited under the title and prompt, and then it's going to give me all the different ways to share this space with my students. I could add it to Google Classroom, and it's going to add a link into an assignment or a question. All I have to do is click here, link it to Google Classroom, find the class, and then add it to an assignment. Or I can go over here to space code and I can copy and paste this particular link anywhere I want. I could link it into an assignment in Google Classroom if I want, or click copy, which will copy this and close this window. Or I can go to T50Z here. This is a code that I can use. Where would I use this code? Well, any student who goes to schoolai.com/join can use that code. So if I go schoolai.com/join and my students are aware of that link throughout the school year, I can just open this up and show them the code. T50Z will get them in. Now, students who have mobile devices with a camera could also use the QR code. But what I'm going to do is take this T50Z and copy it and show you what a student would do. They would just go ahead and put in their first name and then put in their space code and hit join. That's going to launch the space. On the right-hand side is your student description, the image that you had generated. And you'll notice there is a misspell in here. So maybe I want to go back and adjust that. I can certainly do that. I can close this, and edit the space prompt right here with this 3-dot menu. So as we all know, images sometimes from AI will have a little error here and there. So you do have to look out for those. I'm going to go ahead and hit regenerate. It's going to generate another image for me. So it's important to preview. It's important to take a look at it as a student just to make sure everything is copacetic and you're happy with what you see. So from here, I'm going to hit save and launch. And using a space code, this time I'll copy that link and go in. Steve, when I copy the link, it will add that space code automatically for you. So now I have a different image. Here's my student description. Hey there, are you ready to dive into the exciting world of volcanoes? We can explore how they work, where you can find them, and even some cool facts. What's the first thing you'd like to know about volcanoes? I'd like to know how many of them are in the world. Over 1,500 active volcanoes, especially in the Ring of Fire. Do you have a favorite volcano? Have you heard of any famous ones? I'm going to say, no, I don't know the names of any volcanoes. And then it's going to produce a list of it to continue this conversation. Interested in learning more about any of these? Sure. How about Mount St. Helens? And you know what? I'm going to leave in that misspell. See how it handles that. And it understood what I meant. And it gives me information about this. What do you think about volcanoes that can change the landscapes so dramatically? Any questions pop up in your mind? Sounds pretty dangerous. You're right, can be dangerous. Scientists work hard to keep people safe, monitoring, warnings, preparedness. And I'm going to say, how do scientists monitor volcanoes? And so a student can veer off a little bit, still in topic. Great question. Scientists use special methods to keep an eye on volcanoes, seismometers, gas sensors, and so forth. And I can ask in-depth questions about each of these, and it's going to give me a breakdown. How does the seismometer work? How does a gas sensor work? And so forth. And it's going to continue asking those questions to keep that student conversing until you're ready to go ahead and call it off so that students can come back together. And so now I'm going to talk about what a teacher can do with 28 students going in and giving their individual responses to the AI about this particular topic. So I'm going to close that student window. You as a teacher will see 28 students' names in here. And you will see a headline, kind of how are they doing in the conversation, and an emoji about how the AI feels about how this conversation is going. And this headline and an emoji will change depending on the level of conversation and how it's going. But you also have a little bit of a breakdown here. Student is unfamiliar with the names of any volcanoes, indicating a potential gap in basic volcano knowledge. And if I click the drop down, it's going to give me a rationale behind this to help it, me understand why it said what it said. You will have this breakdown for every single student. And if you click on the student, you can also see in the right-hand side the headline, a little bit about that learner, and then the entire conversation. You can see the questions and the answers and how that conversation went. So you can monitor those conversations. So if you needed to have a conversation with a student, you could. If a student jumps in here and they don't use their first name, and you don't have anyone in the class name that, you can go over here to the three-dot menu and you can remove that student and then go through your names of students to find out who it was and tell that student, I need you to rejoin the conversation using your real first name, please. Now, when you're done with this, you can either pause it and then come back later and let the students go back in again, or you can end this. If you've gotten all the info you think you need to get from your students, you can end it. And what that means is that the session is not usable for you anymore. You'll have to duplicate it if you want to make another one. But what I love about ending sessions when you're done using that chatbot is that you get a summary here. Now, of course, that summary is based on just me, but if you had 28 students in here having that conversation, you get a holistic summary of how all of your students are doing. So not only can you see every conversation every student had, you will get a summary of the entire class with a breakdown of all the concepts and how students did on those concepts, which can really guide how you provide learning in the future with the students on that particular topic. Or maybe you learn more about underlying concepts that you need to cover to make sure they understand about that. So again, when I'm done, if I go to Launchpad on the bottom, here are my two learnabouts. My 1130 was the one that I had that I changed the image on, so I don't need that anymore. So if I do a three-dot menu, I can delete that one. Here is the one I ended. And anytime I want, I can click here to go back and see that summary and all the conversations again. Also under Spaces and Sessions, you will also see that listed here as well. So going back to Discover, again, you can search by a topic, you can scroll through here, and you can edit those up. The more popular ones here that have special unique interfaces for them, Sidekick, we covered earlier. If you wanted to have a bell ringer, you can. You can go in here and the bell ringer has a little bit different of an interface. What's the topic? I'm going to say volcanoes again. Maybe this was a bell ringer before I do any training on volcanoes and more options for what grade level. I'm going to go ahead and give that a moment. So custom instructions here. You may give the AI specific agenda instructions for the conversation. I want you to ask my fifth graders, I'm just going to put that in here, about how much they know or are interested in volcanoes. Class description, again, I'm just going to say fifth graders on reading level with varying interests. All right. I'll close this up and I will go to launch. Simple as that. Bell ringers are really easy. I'm going to use this space code. I'll copy it. This is what I would show my students. They would click in here, put in their name. Space code is provided. I hit join. Of course, schoolai.com/join. They can manually type in their name and the space code. Hey there, let's warm up your brains with some cool volcano facts. Did you know there are about 1,500 active volcanoes? What do you think makes volcanoes so interesting or maybe a little scary? Because they are filled with lava. And so you can use this as a bell ringer activity to see where your students are, their general level of interest, on the particular topic and so forth. So again, this is what the student sees. This is how the conversation goes. Up above is a settings, and they can change it to Spanish if they wanted to. It won't affect on your end the summary when you end it. It'll be all in English, but the conversation will be in Espanol. If you have a student who speaks only in Spanish, another thing they can do in the bell ringer activity or any other space is they can say, habla español or hablo español. And it's going to move over to Spanish. And then from there, they can respond in Spanish, and the entire conversation will be in Spanish. Whatever language, there are 57 different languages in here that are supported. So if I want to say parlando italiano, it's going to jump over to Italian, and the student can talk in there. So they could say, I speak Arabic, it's going to jump over to Arabic. Portuguese, jumping over to Portuguese. Now I'm going to say, JK, I speak English. And then it'll just continue on from there. So again, when they're done, they close out. You let them know that, okay, we're going to wrap it up. Again, you can see the entire conversation for the bell ringer activity. When you're done, you can end it, and it's going to give you a holistic um, feedback summary here of how all of your students responded. And again, under spaces and sessions, you will see Pulse Bell Ringer. Now, it says Pulse Bell Ringer. You can go up here and change this so you understand which ones are which. I'll say Volcano Bell Ringer. That way I know. When I go back to sessions here, I know which one this is. It's the Volcano Bell Ringer. So again, going back to Discover, there are also exit tickets, a video explorer, which is a pretty cool one. If I go in here to YouTube and I go ahead and do a search for volcano, Volcanoes 101 from National Geographic, it's 4 minutes and 23 seconds. If I want to use this particular video, I'm going to get rid of that time equals, and I'm going to put in that URL and hit launch. I know there was an ad in the beginning of it, but it will ignore the ad. So if you copy and paste in a YouTube video, what this will do is quickly look through the video, create a transcript of it. And so I'm going to show you what that's going to look like by launching it and going into the student link. And this is what you get. You get the video, a little bit of information about the space. So if a student was wondering, you can go full screen, and a chatbot related to the content that was in this particular video. Now, these blue dots are actually stop points automatically generated by SchoolAI, and it'll stop the video at that point and ask a question related to that particular portion. So ready to dive into how do you feel about getting up close with nature's fireworks? Let's hit play. All right, so I hit play. And again, I can go full screen from here. And what it's going to do is it's going to play this video until it gets to that portion right there. Now, I could pause at any time and answer questions and ask questions of the AI, and it will answer questions generally about volcanoes and also drawing from the content within this video. And as you can see, it's halfway through to that first dot. And as it begins to approach that first dot, I'm going to let this continue playing so you can see what happens on the left-hand side when it pauses the video and takes you to that particular question or topic. So we're just about there. And it pauses automatically. And it says, so tectonic plates are like giant puzzle pieces. When they move, they create volcanoes. Ever heard of the Ring of Fire? It's like the world's largest collection. And so from here, I can answer that question, have a convo, and when I'm ready, hit play again, and it's going to continue going through until it hits the next blue dot and ask a question again. So it's a really great tool for individually guiding your students through and asking questions. Close that, just like any other space. It's going to give you the participants, their conversations, and then if you end it, you're going to get that summary again. All right, so there's a lot of different chatbots in here. If I wanted to go in here and look at a particular historical figure, I could do that as well. I can go in here and go historical figure chatbot, and I'll go in here and put in a particular individual, and then more options in here as well. So I could go in here and add that this is George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, custom instructions, class descriptions, and so forth. And then start the preview, launch it, and I can then have my students virtually talk to that individual. And again, I can monitor the conversations and then end it so that I can see a wrap up of how all my students did. You've also got tutoring sessions in here as well. Here is a tutor subject. I can put in the subject. I could launch it. And get a tutoring session on it. But that said, under create, if I do, it's still loading here. There we go. So if I go in here and I put in, say, it's trying to keep up with me. So if I go in here and put ELA tutor, there are ELA tutors in here already. If I go in here and put math tutor, there are math tutors in here as well. This one here was created by SchoolAI, Maria the math tutor. And then I can go into more options and I can say, I want you to be a tutor for second grade students in mathematics. I can even say, I want you to focus on particular math concepts for second graders if I want to, and then put in additional session instructions and launch this and make those available for my students. So if I want to create one from scratch, I go to Spaces, Create, hit Create. And as you can see, this looks just like the remix if you picked somebody else's space that was previously created. You put in a title, an AI prompt. You can add standards in here as well. So if I reset this, I can go in here and choose standards from California. I could choose second grade standards. I can choose a subject in second grade standards, like history, social science. And then I can choose strands, or I can go down here and check in the particular standards I want to make sure that my AI chatbot focuses on when becoming a math tutor. I can add files if I want, if I've got info on them. And then I've got cover images, subtitles, teacher descriptions, student descriptions, and so forth. If I have enough info in here and the title, I can ask it to generate the information in these fields and then edit them if I want. Save and launch, and this would be an example of a space I might use with my students throughout the entire school year. And so I give them a math tutor to work with. I tell it to not give them the answers so much as to work on solutions and how they derive those solutions. And I can leave this up year round for my students to go back to over and over and over again, rather than ever ending it. And then I can just see what kinds of questions my students ask the tutors. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and stop on Spaces here and wrap up the conversation on Spaces. You'll notice that my creations now has a 2 because I've created some additional spaces in here. And again, remember, all of your spaces can be found down here, and they can also be found under spaces and sessions. I do recommend going through Discover and take a look at. Again, just remember that when you go into Discover and you click on any one of these, if it's available for you, you will see the remix button, which will allow you then to see the entirety of the prompt, and then you can edit it however you please. All right, so I'll leave this here. Thanks for watching.